Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs through his top 10 games of 2015 update video, which is actually going to serve two purposes today. One, this is going to be a follow-on to the video I recorded on Christmas Day last year to list the 10 best games of the year that Jen and I had played. At that moment, of course, since then, we've played a bunch more games from 2015, and as it happens, there are 3 new games that have pushed their way onto the list. So this is going to be my final, my updated, my pretty sure these are going to be the best games that, in Jen's and my opinion, of the year. But before we get to that, there's one other update I wanted to give you, which is, as of today, Sunday, April 10th, this is the final week for folks who are interested to back my yearly Rahdo Runs Through fundraising campaign, which is live on Kickstarter right now. You can go to http://2016.rahdo.com, or you can hit the little I up in the top right corner of the screen. There'll be a link right up there. If you're at all interested in backing, please act now, because after this week, you're not going to have a chance for the rest of the year. It seems like for the majority of the year, I'm always, at least once a week, somebody's saying, boy, I really love the show. How could I support it? And I always say, I'm sorry you missed it. It's just for a couple of weeks, just for a few weeks in April. And those weeks are almost gone. So if you are interested in any of the many backer awards that are available, the voting rights, the gamer bag, the ogre dice, the glass meeples, all the t-shirts, definitely go hit the I, check out at 2016.rahdo.com. But enough of that. Let's commercial out of the way. Let's get what we came here for, which is the update for the best games of 2015. And let's see here. Where's that list? Now, before I get going, there are a small handful of games that we have yet to play that I've read the rules. I kind of understand what they are. I'm pretty confident that once we play them, we will find that they would not be, while they're potentially good, probably not good enough to push into the top 10. There is still a chance that Samara might make it. Where is it? Right over. Oh, it's off camera. It's right up there. Samara might make it. I'm thinking Expo 1906 might make it. Cacao might make it. Portal of Morth might make it. Oh, The Grizzled, I think, has a very, well, not really. The Grizzled is interesting. It's a cooperative game I'm really, really interested in. I've been ever since. But I've read a lot that it's not that great with 2. So I might not play The Grizzled until its expansion comes out in a couple of months. It supposedly adds a new 2-player mode that will make it work a lot better with 2. So probably not The Grizzled. One that I think has a very, very high chance would be Legends of Andor, Chata, and Thorn. But unfortunately, that's only available in German, so it's not going to make my list no matter what, because I just don't have the time to do all the paste ups to be able to make that playable. So, like I said, even still, whereas in December, when I did the list, I had maybe a 90% chance of solidity, I'm going to say this is a 98% chance. There's still a couple of games that might have squeezed in, but they've hit the... They've got to hit the bricks, pal. They're not going to make it, because this is it, my final list. And so 3 games have made it on, which means 3 games have been knocked out. I'm very sorry to say Grand Austria Hotel, Queen's Architect, and, it breaks my heart to say, The Gallerist is now my number 11 of the year. Instead of my, wherever it was originally, it was my number 6, and now it's my number 11. Is that right? 6, 7, 8. Well, whatever. But anyway, so those 3 have been pushed out to make room. So my new top 10, and by the way, you can see my original top 10 by hitting the I up there, right? And there'll be a link to it right next to my Kickstarter link. But anyway, so you can go see what the original, and the games I already talked about them. I'm only going to talk about these new 3 games that have pushed their way in. So the new top 10 games of 2015 countdown is as follows. Number 10, Signorie. Or Signorie, something like that. Again, that's one of the ones that was on the list before. You can go check it out on the original. Number 9 is the first new game, Between Two Cities. And I gotta say, this really surprised me. This kind of came out of nowhere. In fact, I had completely dismissed this game out of hand as something that Jen and I were not going to love, because this is a tile drafting game where each player is, every round they get a handful of tiles, they pick a couple, and then they hand the rest off to the next player. It goes round and round till all the tiles are used up, and you take those 2 tiles to add to the city that you as a player are between 2 cities. You're building a city to your left, and a city to your right. And you have to, every round, put a tile in each of those cities. And the trick is, the player to your left and the player to your right, they are also contributing to the city that you are building. So this is almost a kind of a semi-cooperative game where I'm cooperating with my player to my left and my player to the right, and I'm competing 100% with the player across the table who I am not sharing a city with. This is absolutely brilliant. And I have to admit, when I first heard of it, I knew this was going to be brilliant for having, a big group of players, because it goes up to 7 players. But I figured, how could that possibly be a solid gameplay experience for only 2? And in fact, when I eventually got the game, and I tried the 2-player rules that come with it, this is officially a 3 to 7 player game, and it includes a 2-player variant. The variant that came with this, I was like, it's okay. It's all right. Nothing wrong with it. It's okay. But wow, I actually got a chance to play this. I played this with 4 and with 5 players, I think. Is that right? I think I played it at the 4 and the 5-player count, but I expect even all the way up to the 7-player count, it's a phenomenal multiplayer game. Easily the top 10 candidate. But I always kept out of my list because as a 2-player game, the variant wasn't very good. But one of the designers, I think it was, I forget which one, there were several people who worked on this, contacted me after I had posted online about how we thought the 2-player game was okay, but it failed to capture the magic. And he told me about an official variant that basically adds a dummy player, much like 7 Wonders adds a dummy player to replicate a 3rd player. And oh my God, the dummy player works so phenomenally well. And then suddenly, this game, even as a 2-player game, captures all that magic of, right, I'm trying to build my 2 cities, and if I'm playing with Jen and the dummy player, Jen, she and I are working on this city, and me and the dummy player are working on this city. The dummy player makes interesting decisions. I have to try and second guess what they're going to do, the same way I have to try and second guess what Jen's trying to do. I'm trying to make both my cities phenomenal. And that city across the table that Jen and the dummy player are working on, I hope that thing crashes and burns so that my cities can score the most points. It's brilliant, and it works so well with 2. It's amazing to me that Stonemaier Games did not ship with this alternate variant in the rules, because then it becomes a top 10 game of the year. Simple as that. That is my new number 9 between 2 cities. And if I were rating this as a 3 to 7 player game, this would probably be my number 2 or my number 3. But as a 2-player game with the official variant that you can find on Board Game Geek, and you can go to my run-through and find a link to the thread that describes the official variant. Or you can watch my run-through and see me do it. Oh my gosh, it just comes alive. It's actually, yeah, I talked about it. I didn't, long story short, great. My new number 9 between 2 cities. Number 8 is another new one. And now this is one that I considered putting on the list originally, but at the time, back in December, I had only played this game in prototype form, as I'd done a run-through for its Kickstarter. I had not played the final retail, so I couldn't in good conscience put it on the list until I actually played it for Realsy Reels, and I have. And so, number 8 is Ryan Laukatz's Above and Below. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is such a wonderful game. And everything I talked about when in my final thoughts when I did the run-through, it still comes across. It's a phenomenal game. It's a wonderful city building or village building Euro game with interesting bits of exploration, storytelling, resource management. And gorgeous, just drop dead, stunningly gorgeous. Absolutely phenomenal game. Ryan Laukatz's best game to date, and that's saying something because he makes really phenomenally clever designs, and he's the artist on all his own games, so his games always look gorgeous too. Above and Below, my number 8 of the year. And then, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this. My number 7 is the other new game. So all 3 new games that push their way on are back to back. My number 7, Fuse. A lovely, lovely, real-time cooperative game where players are working together to defuse a pile of bombs. And they've got exactly 10 minutes. You can download a little app for your smartphone, or you can just use a regular timer, however you want, because you have exactly 10 minutes to roll dice and dice draft, which, as I talked about in my, my original top 10 run through for 2015, I talked about, oh my gosh, where did all these dice drafting games come from? 2015 was the year of the dice drafter. I love dice drafting. Who knew? And then all of a sudden, this cooperative dice drafter that's a real-time game comes out where every round we roll the dice and we have to draft, but we have to do it cooperatively instead of competitively, and we need to grab the dice that will let us disarm our bombs while not taking the dice that our teammates need to disarm their bombs. It's absolutely brilliant. And I think going forward, this is going to get a lot more play than Escape Curse of the Temple does, just because it's so tiny, it's so fast to set up, it works great at pretty much every player count. It's even a really awesome solo game. I've played it solo and had a blast. It works great at 2, it works great. I haven't played it as a 3, I've played it as a 1, 2, and 4. Love it to death, no matter how I play it. Amazing game, so much fun. And that's it, my new number 7. And then the rest of the list stays the same. Number 6, Adventureland. 5, Isle of Skye. 4, oh, this is interesting. 4 is Peloponnes the Card Game, which originally I had as my 10th best game of the year, but we have since played Peloponnes the Card Game several more times, and every time we played it, it has climbed higher and higher and higher up the list, just because it's so good, so amazing. So, number 4, Peloponnes the Card Game. Number 3, Elysium. Number 2, Forge War, which is still crazy that that's even on my list because it's such a ridiculously long game. It's kind of the antithesis of the sort of thing we normally like, because we, as you can see from these are the ones I talk about, we like to have medium weight, kind of shorter length games, but Forge War is heavy, it is deep, and it is long, and oh, we love it so much. Number 2, but still nothing could tear down the number 1 best game of the year, number 1 best gaming sessions I've had in my entire life. I still stand by that. Pandemic Legacy. And so, folks, there you go. That was the update for 2015. 2015 was a ridiculously phenomenal year. I cannot believe how many phenomenal games. And when I was doing this update last night and this morning, and I was like, looking at all the games I've played since then, Steam Time, Council 4, I mean, so many phenomenal games and so many, Spirits of the Rice Paddy, just barely not, I mean, this is, I'll have to go back and compare it to other years, but this has got to be one of the best years of the last 5 years, easy, just because there was just such an incredible cavalcade of wonderful, phenomenal experiences. Now, I am going to basically spend some more time focusing on 2015 because I'm probably not going to do it this month, but in May, I will get around to doing, every year I make a geek list where I list every single game I played for the entire year, whether we liked it or not, whether we kept it or not. You've just seen what the top 10 of that list is going to be, but I'll talk about the other, 60 or 70 games in this geek list, and I'll talk about why it landed where on the track, and I'll have an opportunity to talk about all these other wonderful, wonderful games. So yeah, you can watch for that coming probably in May, because it takes me a long time to make that list and write it all down and all that. So, and you can always go to guild.rahdo.com and subscribe, and that's how you'll get a notice that geek list has gone up. And otherwise, I think that's it. Although, in closing, once again, remember, final week. If you want to back Rahdo Runs Through It All, if you want to become a voter, if you want to get any of the great, if you just want to support the show because you would love it and you think it helps you out, you've just got 7 days left. I cannot strike, because I guarantee you, I close next Monday, I'm going to get 5 emails saying, oh my God, I can't believe I missed it. So please, folks, don't miss it, because you'll have to wait another year. And that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Any questions, comments, concerns, as always, let me know. Otherwise, hope you have a very, very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.